Well, it's Monday. It's Joyful Monday. And every Monday we come to you with a live broadcast and a featured guest speaker, which we're starting now more or less. It's so good to be with you. I am Joy Ruffen, and my work with you is as a leadership and style consultant, a signature style specialist, speaker, executive producer, TV host, and podcaster. But my joy and my pleasure is every week to bring you a featured guest speaker. But before I bring them on, because we're changing the format a wee bit, I hope you're well. I hope you had a great week, and this is going to be one of the best weeks ever. Because today we're going to be talking about, we always talk about something that's current and popular and hopefully in the mainstream, always. So we're going to be talking about why do we have to manage our emotions? And our featured guest speaker that I'm going to bring up a little bit later after the reset, we're going to talk a lot about this because emotions, and especially for us females, for gents too, they're major. So how do we manage our emotions? Emotions are everything. And if you're in leadership, which is what we are here, then you want to learn how to manage your emotions. I don't like the word control. And I'll ask my featured guest about that when she comes up. But I always start off with quotes because I want to share with you one of my many loves, and I fell in love with quotes. So we start with this one. Emotions can be the enemy if you give into your emotions. You lose yourself. You must be at one with your emotions because the body always follows the mind. I bet if I gave you a little tip, you could guess who that was. I happen to love Kung Fu and all of that type of stuff. Bruce Lee. And I think that's so fitting. Learn to master your emotions. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And friends, this is another very touchy conversation, especially when it comes to leadership, because my guest and I were speaking a little bit earlier, and she said to me what she felt that being a professional was all about. And I completely agree with her. And I'm going to ask her, maybe we can talk a wee bit more about that when she comes up. You look for somebody who's competent with core skills that they've developed. But leadership is more than that. If you don't have the ability, hi, Sonia, always good to see you. If you don't have the ability to manage your emotions and to not let them manage and control you, or I should say not let them control you, because if you're managing them, you don't have to control them. What a conundrum, right? But it's the truth. So we're going to be talking about emotions today. And if you're in leadership, they are major. How many people have you met who are so skilled and so talented and so gifted, and they're not able to manage their emotions? And you know what that means mainly? And I said it's a touchy subject. It means predominantly that you are able to converse and relay and communicate what you're all about, but you're able to listen and to hear and to speak back in a manner and a style that connects and relate to the person and the people that you're talking to. Because your style might not be, most likely it isn't their style. And your delivery and your way and your means of delivering is not the same. When Bruce Lee said that, I love that quote because emotions can be the enemy if we don't learn how to manage them and control them. And we are always talking about here the divine femininity. And the divine femininity is where all of us in the female sector, and the male too, because there's divine masculine. That's where we have to be headed, because that divine, these words divine and soul and a lot of others are very much in the stratosphere now, because people more so than ever, maybe it's just our time after the pandemic, they're searching. We are searching. We're searching for our divine essence, our divine being. Why are we here? That's if we care, and if we're on the spiritual high religious path. We want to know more about ourselves, developing our gifts so that we can manage ourselves. I always ask, do your emotions control you, or do your emotions control you, or do you control your emotions? One of the biggest distractions, in success. That is so true, Sonia. Sonia always speaks from her wisdom, which is always brilliant and on point. But what I want you guys to be thinking about is, how do you allow your emotions to control you? We're about changing that mindset and to prove we have the capabilities to sit at a table and manage in our innate love for ourselves that we share with other people. Because so much is a facade, it's fake, and it's not genuine. And only when you begin to discover within yourself who you are and what you're about, are you open to embracing any, every, and all around you without judgment and without being opinionated. It might not be for you, but you say, Interesting. And you move on without in any way blaming or throwing shade or being negative or critical about an opinion that's different from yours. That's when you really get to manage your emotions. This is why I don't talk politics, but this is why we're in such a crazy state now, because people aren't listening to each other. They're not communicating. And so you can say, and it's true somewhat, there will always be this kind of madness going on. But where do you stand? Where's your stance? How are you embracing who you are and sharing that with others in open, universal love, which is what the universe is all about? One of the things that never ceases to amaze me, and we're going to talk about this with my guest speaker here today, is when you're able to get on your journey and manage your emotions and getting to know who you are, you acquire something that you already had, but it surfaces and it rises and it takes not so much command of you, but it allows you to, like a rubber band, back and forth. And the word that we're going to talk about here a little bit later is resiliency. Resiliency is everything. And for me, that's so prevalent now because stubbornness can be good to a point, only to a point. But if you're not able to and think and be open to what somebody else said that's totally alien from the way you think, then you're not really able to manage and be the master of you. So that's what we're going to be talking about, changing our mindset and proving that we have the capabilities to be all that we're here to be. When you are in business, boy, oh boy, and especially women who are stepping into the divine femininity, you want to be able to manage your emotions and stand in your regalness. You know, for me, it's about, and for you, or you wouldn't be here now or for the recap, it's about blending the balance, the old and the new, blending them together. I like to also say the seasoned and the novice and the antiquated and the modern, well, they belong together because both ends, and you want to get to the mean, the middle. They bring a lot to the table, but you want to get the balance. Balance is a key word for almost everything. Not so much for integrity, because either you have integrity or you don't. But balance is everything. You want to find your mean, your middle, so that you can operate at your highest vibration and your highest frequency. Why do we have to manage our emotions? I leave you with food for thought. You know that I love food for thought. And this is something I want to leave you before I take a quick reset here. This is something that most, I love the word most, most everyone will know. He said, when you are business, and especially when we're stepping into our divine femininity now, this is what someone that most of us know, he said, control your emotions until you can manage your emotions. Did you hear that? Control your emotions until you can learn to manage your emotions. Yet, I'm going to give you the name of this person soon. You're going to know who it is. Don't expect to manage your money. Warren Buffett. I leave that for food for thought for you because that's a biggie and it's quite deep. It's very, very deep. My friends, every week when I come to you, I'm going to come to you with a topic, something that we're going to be talking about. And sometimes the featured guest speaker will be in alignment with it and sometimes not, because they're all going to be coming at a time that's convenient for them. Now, our featured guest speaker today, after I come back from the reset, is going to come up and we're going to talk a lot about emotions, because that's what we're talking about today. So hold tight. And I'm going out for my reset a wee bit early because I want to bring her on and give her as much time as possible to talk about what she's all about, which I am over the moon about because she's right in my wheelhouse and I love it. So sit back and relax and let me tell you a little bit about something maybe I hope you know about. And if you don't, you will come and join us. And that's Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies. We want you to come and join the group because we want you there. We need you there. And your input is needed there. We want your vision. We want your mission. And we want your purpose to be a part of this community that we're building. And my featured guest speaker today and I are going to talk a little bit about community, because community, as we all know, it's everything, right? It's family, it's relationships, and it's community. And those three go under any and every umbrella that you're building. that you're managing. So keep that in mind. And then I want to speak to what I have for you, 3 weeks plus bonuses, our silver package. So make sure you take a screenshot or snapshot and go here and see what that's all about. And we're vamping and changing, but we're always changing. It's a good thing. And then I want you to take a look, and please, I don't beg of you, I ask you, I invite you to take a screenshot or snapshot of this workshop that's coming up this Saturday, April the 20th. And my featured guest speaker and I love her name, Saskia, and Christian is her last name. It's so fitting. We're going to be talking a lot about this towards the end. But take a screenshot or a snapshot and join us there if you can. And now I want you to sit back and relax and help me welcome Saskia. How are you, my darling?
I am doing just wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on this platform on Joyful Mondays. It's a joy.
It's a joy to have you here too. You know that I love the work you're doing because it's so aligned with what we're about here. The divine femininity and divine masculine and managing our emotions. And I love your name, Saskia, for the group, the community, and the company that you have, Boost Through. Before I go into anything, I know we don't have much time, but how did you come to that name? Because it's so fitting for so many things. Boost Through. Go through it.
Yes. I thought of the underdogs like myself, those professionals who were really just trying to excel, right? And to climb whether it's corporate ladder or, or a ladder of success. And they didn't have those tools, but they're supposed to boost through or just boost beyond those boundaries and limitations that are just holding them back. And so, hence the name.
I love that. Thank you for that. I love the name. I'm a wordsmith in my fashion with all of my learning disabilities, and something it hits me at my core, and I get it. But let me ask you something here, because we spoke, you and I, about this a wee bit earlier, and again, it resonated. Because you're all about leadership, community, and the magazine, which we're going to talk about. But tell us this is what you shared with me, which is my mindset as well, and we talked about it a wee bit. Tell us what a professional, one in leadership who's a professional, what that means to you.
A professional leader is really someone who has those core competencies. And not only that, they do have that handle on their emotions. They're able to have self-control mastery, right? Regulate their emotions, identify and understand their emotions, and identify and understand the emotions of others so they can manage their relationships, difficult relationships, with optimal success and win friends and influence people. And most importantly, giving back as well to the community, not just receiving.
I love that. I love that. I wanted you to speak to that because when you share that with me, you used a word that's endearing to me, and I'm sure to anyone who's in leadership, competent. But what you're adding to it, and what we both know is needed, no matter what the skill set might be, is that ability to emote in a way that's appealing. So now you talk a lot about resiliency, another one of my favorite words. So how does that play in with the work that you're doing, and how are you getting people to understand the art, the skill, the knowing of what resiliency means to them and how they can apply it to their lives?
Absolutely right. So I always lead by this. A resilient leader is really what all professionals should be focused on or aspire to, right? That's where you are a high performance leader, you need to be a resilient leader. And so we at Boost Through are focused on the healing, nurturing, and empowerment of those professionals who've been underestimated, overlooked, misunderstood, whether it's the regular business professional or the female executive who's struggling with their influential power and just need to be able to gain a gender buy-in. And that's really what resiliency, being able to overcome those challenges, those adversities with grace and confidence, that's what we are pouring in as sessions, during sessions like our Resilience Unleash the Unbreakable Spirit workshop that's coming up.
Yeah.
Harnessing the inner strength, managing the emotions, right? That's the emotions that are causing the stress and the burnout, toxic stress and the burnout and the trauma, and really giving them those resilient strategies, boosting those resilient strategies to help them overcome those adversities, regardless of whether they're in the self-discovery stage or whether they're striving for success or they're just really struggling with the day-to-day issues of life, personally and professionally. We have just what it takes to do that.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because I was waiting with bated breath to butt in there without interrupting and say yes, because there's so many in leadership, especially in the corporate level, more so than entrepreneurial, but they're entrepreneurial too, who burn out. And they burn out why? Because the resiliency and the ability to step back and to breathe and to reassess and everything, they lose that somewhere. So you're supporting them in that. And you being in that arena, in that camp for quite a while, you understand how that can happen. So I love that. You speak a lot about something that I speak to almost every week when I come here on Mondays and Wednesday nights for my leading ladies. And that's emotional security, emotional healing, emotional intelligence. It's everything. So how do you get people to understand the value, the importance of really holding hands with these 3 or 4 different ways to maintain your emotional stability that leads to emotional abundance? I do believe that. Do you? Once you're able to.
Right. Absolutely right. Emotional clarity is key. Regulation of your emotions is key. You're the only one who has the power to do that. And the tools are all out there, the coping mechanisms, the deep breathing, hard-paced breathing exercises, they're all there to help you as a professional. Roughly 78%, there was an HB article that really says that 78% of executives really do have an adverse impact. They have an adverse impact on their resiliency because they're not able to manage those difficult relationships with the people on their team. And maybe they're not able to navigate those conversations, difficult politics conversations. Again, you see how the emotional intelligence, emotions management, how it relates to resilience, right? And of course, that relates to the success you're going to have as a leader. So they're all come together nicely.
Yes, it does. Saskia, I get excited for the people that I bring here and the guests that I bring to get out into the audience and meet others in the stratosphere. But I didn't mention, because sometimes the backstory is not as important as the front story, and it all depends on delivery. But I do want to share with the audience what you're about, because we know the name of your company and all. But you are a trauma healing and resilience life coach, a consultant, you're a speaker, and you're an international bestseller of a compilation book with almost 20 other authors. Now, you are doing a lot, and I know the work that you're doing because I know of you, and we belong to several of the same groups. But let me ask you this, because what I just said that you're doing, you have been involved with the Leadership Experience Tour, and you're very much involved in the community, and there's been a magazine. So compile all of that and put it together and share with us a little bit about that.
Wow, where do I start? I always say it's a Cinderella story when you're walking in purpose.
Ooh.
I have about encouragement for the professionals out there. I do get it. The fact that we've been told, or we've learned that our emotions need to take a back seat, or our mental health and well-being need to take a back seat to performance data and to productivity, when it actually helps to foster productivity and innovation excellence. And of course, one thing that goes hand in hand with our healing, nurturing, and empowerment, which at Boost we're all about, it's about networking with like-minded professionals. And that's what I had the opportunity to do at an amazing leadership experience tour held in Troy, Michigan recently, just hosted by Sean Fair. Had exceptional leaders in the military, high ranking, so many professionals from diverse industry sectors coming together with their respective expertise, and they were highly knowledgeable. But what I noticed that they were very supportive of each other. It fostered that positive, healthy team dynamic. And you know what? They were even giving advice to others as well in terms of how they can perfect their skills, their speaking skills, and everything. And of course, the focus was also on giving back. How are people showing up every day for others? Had UN award recipients were there. We had an award ceremony for that, and the Presidential Lifetime Achievement awardees as well. What a gift it was to see such positivity. You talk positivity, emotions in check, support and love, genuine, because you have to be authentic in being a resilient leader. It's an absolute must.
Yes. You know what? You said quite a bit there, and I want to allude to something because this is what I've discovered over the years for me. And most everyone likes people who are highly intelligent, aware, in sync, and so on and so forth. But if you're not developing other skills along with that, which is what you're speaking to in a different way, we have different ways of conveying the same thing. It's very difficult. So this leadership tour experience that you experienced, I heard you say, I think veterans, army, the service, whatever, military.
Yes,
They were there.
regular, yes.
Oftentimes the emotional aspect is left out. But no matter what stance or what circle you're in, people need to know that you're interested and care about them. So however you show your emotions, and sometimes it doesn't have to be all kissy poo 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 kind of thing. That for some people is nauseating. But you have to, if you're emotionally secure yourself, you can look into and see and feel what that person that you're connecting and relating to, what they need, and then you deliver that. So that highly skilled and highly intelligent, all of that, when it comes together with that emotional security and emotional resiliency and stability, is it powerful? It is powerful. And you were able to see that. You could witness that in those who were,
I've
and
seen
the
that.
community that you're in and the people that you're working with. What is predominantly the, I know it's probably broad range, but what what professional range are the people that you're predominantly working with? What sector are they in?
So I would say seasoned professionals, whether it's in high-tech sector or maybe in government or entrepreneurial, those are the people that I normally work with, who attend my workshops and really do have amazing takeaways from that to help them with their day-to-day journeying, seasonal journeying of resilience, because we have to
I
get to
like
the
that.
yeah.
I like that because you said season, and season doesn't always mean that we put everything together. So we need those who are coming in with a different viewpoint, a different advantage to see and to view us. And you know what else you spoke to in a light way? And I want to talk a wee bit more about this because I think this is something that most of us who are in leadership, we have issues with at one time or another. And that is how we are able to manage communicating and working with people who are difficult to connect to for whatever their reasons are. And most times they don't even know, or they're not even aware that they have a concern. What are some of the keys or secrets that you can give us, some of that magic secret sauce to learn how to relate to people who are just maybe blasé about, they don't want to be bothered?
Just a few words:
Yes.
empathy and compassion.
Yes. Yes.
Simple recipe is not rocket science. Really
Yes.
get to understand the person's position, where they're coming from. And like you mentioned, the emotional journeying of a particular person, of an individual, it's all unique. We are not at the same place. And we also don't have the same background, the same cultural upbringing, and those things. So we don't necessarily see life the same, right? And we manage adversities and so forth different. So it all comes down to the empathy, compassion, and giving each other grace. But by all means, I always say start with yourself. Give
Yes.
that grace and that compassion. That's where, that actually starts the healing. After the acknowledgement of the emotions, you need to make sure that you're compassionate with yourself.
Yes. And Saskia, all of that you said, I sometimes boil it down. It's the same thing. We're saying the same thing. You can't take stuff personally. You got to step back, breathe, have that empathy and that compassion, and attempt in every ounce of core within you to see that other person's perspective. And you want to respond and not to react to what they're saying.
Absolutely right. And that's what we really bring home in our part of our agenda is really empowering women, like I mentioned, those female executives who are struggling to maximize their influential power. Well, how do you do that if you're not able to control your emotions in the meeting? If
Yourself.
you take it personally when somebody says something that you don't necessarily agree with.
Yes, yes, yes. You know what? That leads me to what you're doing on Saturday, which is going to be very powerful. Let me ask my engineer to put up your poster, and I'm going to tell the people again to take a screenshot or a snapshot of that. And then in turn, when we come back, everybody take a screenshot. If you can leave that up, Kirill, my engineer, leave that up for a second. Please take a screenshot or snapshot of this poster because this is going to be awesome. And this is this Saturday at the 20th at 10:30. What is it? Central,
PM.
12:30 PST. Next time, my lovely Saskia, you make that date and time much larger. Not because I have four eyes, because people need to be able to see that. But take a screenshot and a snapshot. And Saskia, tell us a little bit more about what you're going to be offering and what's happening with that workshop, because that's going to be awesome. I wish I could attend, but I can't because, with me and hubby and everything. But tell us what they can expect when they come and what they're going to get.
Yes. And I would say they can expect a virtual, immersive, and transformative session where they get not only, resilience building or boosting strategies for optimal personal and professional growth, but they do get to learn how to have develop emotional clarity, manage their emotions, read the room, which is essential for you to be an influential or a resilient leader. And of course, navigating of the challenges day to day, have those step-by-step action plans and how to do that. And we'll give you the fruits of resilience, which is a grace and resilience formulation package we did have for the professional who's just really struggling with work-life balance, struggling with stress, and need those emotional regulation techniques to be able to manage stress when they're at work, right? Having those techniques available that's really conducive to the moment that they're in, giving them all those tools so they can conquer life. And of course, communication techniques as well, because that is very, very key to success and maintaining peace.
Yes.
And good, healthy relations.
I love your words because I'm a wordsmith, never to impress, but to be able to communicate. And they just ring out beauty and love to me. You said people who want to immerse themselves in at the optimal, boom, 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 boom. Beautiful wording there. And that's what they're going to get. And that goes back to what we spoke to earlier, Saskia. And that is that I have a lot of favorite words, but power and leadership and love and all of these. But when you want a sense of your own power, you really need to be able to learn to manage your emotions and to respond and not to react. And that's what you're going to be sharing with people so they don't get burned out and all of that.
Absolutely. Yes. In order to have a mindset shift to reclaim your power, that's what we're giving the professionals to attend. Having them, assisting them with taking their power back for triumphant living. And it all has to do with resilience and self-confidence. And for you to have that boost of self-confidence, you need to have that self-awareness. You have your emotions in check, right? You have to really understand and acknowledge who you are, right? When you're faced in certain situations so that you can show up well as a leader. Because from there is where respect is gained.
Yes. And Saskia, that self-awareness, which leads to self-love and self-confidence, once you get that, you can be around any and everybody, all different size, shapes, age, money, education, anything, dress style. You are confident in who you are. And you really know that your gifts that were given to you for a reason, and you applaud and celebrate that. That's what we're doing. And I just love the work that you're doing. I think it's so needed. And what I didn't speak to earlier, there's so much with you that I love. But how many years did you work as an engineer? Because you have that engineer's mind, and I love that.
But that's where it starts. All the tools the coping tools and mechanisms I've designed with the professional experience in mind at the seasonal level, it all came about because I'm an engineer. Attention to detail and tailoring is really my specialty. And so 17 and a half years roughly in corporate America in the high-tech sector, that's where I've worked. So all of that was just used for great purpose. It's an excellent foundation for what I'm doing here to give back to my fellow professionals because I do care. I do care about them when they leave the workplace and when they're on the workplace, to not necessarily put your emotion stuff aside like a robot, but you bring that, have everything be cohesive because it's all part of you.
Yes.
And the ultimate excellence.
You preach, my sister. You preach. I love that. I love that. And I applaud and celebrate. I commend you and the work that you're doing. I know how needed it is. We're all needed. And when we learn to stand in our power and continue to learn to manage our emotions, we're on our way. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What parting words or words of wisdom would you like to leave us with a brief second because it's over?
I just want to say to the professional who's listening to me today, I know I've said quite a lot, But one of the things that I always encourage is that you are greater than you think you are. There is excellence within you, and you are to unleash, when you have one life to live, unleash your leadership potential and be excellent. You have permission to be excellent. And that's what we at Boostro are here with all the right tools to be able to meet you exactly where you are in your journey. So that
Thank you.
power. Yes.
That's beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Carilla's going to put you in the green room, my engineer, and I thank you, I thank you, I thank you. That was beautiful. I hope that people receive this and they receive something from it. I always go over a wee bit, but it's always worth it because of the really phenomenal information that's being shared with you. Wherever you are, whatever you're about, and whatever you're doing, if you can, please connect with her for this seminar, this webinar that she's having on Saturday, April the 20th. And we send you always much, much love. From my heart to your heart. Be and stay well, and we'll look to be with you again soon. How about Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? Make this the best week ever, my friends. All the best. Much love. Bye. Cheers.